What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. A huge thank you for each and every one of you for coming here daily to watch these videos. Take the time out of your day to watch them. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Thank you so much for being here, and with that being said, let's get straight in to today's stories. Much love, guys. And our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for taking away my pregnant wife's credit card because she keeps ordering food bad for our baby? My wife is 6 months pregnant and cravings are hitting her hard. I sympathise with that, but unfortunately it seems like her cravings are all for things our doctor has specifically told us to avoid for the health of our baby. She just can't seem to control herself when the cravings hit. She ends up door dashing the forbidden items. It's not like she has done this once or twice either. But in the last week she has ordered Subway 4 times and sushi twice. This has been going on for months. I've tried to convince her to make these things at home with approved ingredients, but she says they just aren't the same. I've asked her to consider the health of our baby, and she says that her mental health is more important. I can't help but think this is a ridiculous notion. Foregoing uncooked lunch meat and seafood isn't going to give her emotional trauma, for fuck's sake. I'm the main breadwinner in the house and decided to cut off her access to our cards for the time being. I think it might make me a bit of an arsehole because it makes me feel more like her parent than her partner. But I am a soon-to-be parent. I need to protect my kiddo. Edit, sushi and Subway aren't the only things that she's been eating on the forbidden list. Those were just examples from the last week. I probably should have included that in my OP. She has also eaten a lot of undercooked meat and eggs, drinking energy drinks, had a few glasses of wine, etc. Edit 2, doctor had been informed of her diet choices. He sternly told her she needs to change that. She refuses to listen to him about this too. Edit 3, I accept that Reddit thinks I'm the arsehole. However, I still feel that this is justified arsehole behaviour. I will not allow my wife to have a credit card until she agrees to follow the doctor recommendations for the health of our child. She still has access to our Amazon account with the card saved and is free to shop for whatever she needs. But the only food that will come into the house is what I bring home from the grocery shopping or if we plan to get takeout together. Oh, and all those people recommending the book Expecting Better by Emily Oster, no thanks. She's an economist, not a medical doctor, not even a scientist in the field of biology. I will continue to go by the guidelines set forth by medical professionals. As he said in this post already, that the judgment is arsehole immediately, and I'm not gonna pretend that I know what pregnant women should be eating or not eating, right? I don't know if they're allowed to eat fish and eggs and that sort of stuff. I'm assuming there's something against it because he said his doctor is against it. And if that would be true, like if the wife is purposely eating foods that's bad for the baby, then yeah, maybe I would say wife is the arsehole in the situation. I don't think taking her credit card away is the right thing to do though. I don't think that's the correct way to do it. And also, just to reiterate, I have no clue on this whatsoever. But there was also a part and he said, forgoing uncooked lunch meat. Isn't all lunch meat cooked? That's what I've always understood. You don't have to cook lunch meat. What? But anyway, I'm hoping to get a bit of education on this one. So let's head straight down to the comments and see what they say down there. Although they're not always right either. Skitty Catcher 66 says, you're the arsehole. I can't believe the number of not the arseholes here. I don't know if this is a cultural difference because Reddit is a heavily US centric, but as a European, holy shit. Why don't you just tie her to the bed so she can't leave the house until the baby is born? Full stop. Can't have her crossing the road in case she gets hit by a car. Can't have her walking up or down the stairs in case she slips and falls. Hell, she better not even drink tap water in case there's some kind of freak contamination event and it harms the baby. She's an autonomous adult, not an incubator. The fact that it's your kid gives you absolutely no rights over her. Pregnant women do not become a form of public property simply because they are pregnant. There's something called relative risk. In my country, there is about a 1 in 124 chance of being in a car accident in your lifetime. I could make that chance 0 by staying inside forever and never leaving the house, but nobody does that because that is an utterly ridiculous curtailment of individual autonomy for a slight reduction in risk. The risk of something happening because some meat is minuscule. There will always be risk. No pregnancy is ever 100% safe from misfortune. There is just being risk averse to the point of being controlling. Science Not Kid says, and quotes, foregoing undercooked lunch meat, and then says, I'm sorry, what? All lunch meat has been cooked. You're the arsehole unless she's shooting up. The baby will be fine. Yachi Wannabe says, your logic is flawed. If you get to control all things money, including access to it because you're the breadwinner, then she gets to control all things baby because she is the one carrying it. But I think we both agree the latter isn't true, so don't act like the former is either. I also think you may get short-term compliance with long-term damage to your relationship and the family relationship. I think you should start with a call to a doctor to talk about ways you could talk to her about it, maybe a counsellor. You're the arsehole. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from Not Trying to Be a Niche. Am I the arse for getting upset about the condition placed on the free house my future in-laws want to buy us? So this is a disaster. My fiance, 29 male, and I, 28 female, have been looking into buying a house. We've been saving for this for years and have enough saved up to buy something small. Our city's housing market is pretty insane, so even with good combined income, most things are out of our range. We don't need a lot of space and aren't planning to have kids anytime soon, if ever, so small works just fine. However, as a wedding gift, his parents recently offered to buy a nice 3 to 4 bedroom home in their neighbourhood. It's bigger than we need and a little far from work, but it's an amazing home with a giant yard for our dogs. We were shocked and grateful and didn't think we could accept it. His parents are quite wealthy, own about 7 to 8 investment properties of their own, and have always really welcomed me as family, but it just felt like too much. They kept insisting. The property was owned by an older friend that had just lost his wife and was looking to downsize and didn't want the hassle of putting it onto the market. This way they could buy the home with cash and he'd give them a slight discount on it and help us get started in life. We eventually agreed on the condition that they accept all the money we saved for a down payment and that the remaining amount is interest-free loan that we would pay back monthly. Everything seemed great until this weekend when they sprung on us their other condition. Namely, they also want us to agree to let my fiance's younger sister live with us indefinitely. To be clear, I have no issue with his younger sister, Claire. Claire, 26 female, and I have always got along really well, which I think is one of the reasons his parents like me so much. Claire has very high functioning autism, Asperger's I believe, and has trouble reading social cues. She still lives at home and they have mentioned they worry about her being able to live independently. My fiance and I love his sister, but she can be difficult to live with, as she has troubles dealing with situations if she doesn't get her way. When we explained this wouldn't work for us, it started a giant argument. First they tried to offer it for free again, i.e. we don't pay them back for it. We said no. His parents ultimately said they wouldn't help us buy the house unless we agreed, so we said we don't want the house then. Now they are calling us selfish for refusing a free house and putting their friend in a tough spot by pulling out last minute, just because we don't want to share a giant house with his sister. It's pretty stressful and his sister is apparently upset too, as she was looking forward to moving in with us. I can see how it seems a little entitled, especially when we don't need all that space and would have extra bedrooms, but are we the arseholes here? Hell no, you're not the arseholes in this situation. They set you up for fools, man. Bless the little sister, you know, it's not the little sister's fault. It is the parents' fault. They shouldn't have told this. They've obviously told her beforehand, yeah, we're going to give them this house and you're going to move in with them and everything's going to be great. You know, that is not on. They've made everyone feel like shit in this situation. And it's not a free house when you're having to share it with someone else. You know, you want your own space. That's the whole point of having a house, is to have your own space. If you're having to share it, then, you know, it's not really your house anymore. If she's having to live with you indefinitely. It's not on, in my opinion. Not the arsehole, just because of that, really. And putting myself in their shoes, I'd be exactly the same. Let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Miss Baseball 34 says not the arsehole. They're essentially setting you up as their caretakers without ever asking you to take over that role. The house is supposed to be a gift. It shouldn't come with strings. Muck Susie says not the arsehole. What your in-laws did was pretty awful. Rather than asking you to do them an enormous favour of taking their adult daughter into your household, they dangled a free house, then sprung a condition and told their adult daughter about it before you accepted. That is very disappointing behaviour. You are absolutely right to decline. These are not people from whom you should accept gifts, because they clearly expect you to bend to their whims, whether they are clear about it up front or make demands down the line. Their daughter's living situation is their responsibility. If she is truly unable to live independently, they need to make an arrangement for her. However, based on how you describe her, it sounds like they could buy her a condominium if she is not able to manage financial independence. Miley30 says, danger, danger. This is not about a house, and it certainly isn't about a gift. It's about your in-laws trying to force you into a long life major obligation. Your in-laws are trying to force you into being Claire's full-time caretakers for the rest of her life, without even doing you the courtesy of discussing this with you first. It's outrageous to try and slip in this sort of thing under the guise of giving you a gift. This is not a gift. They're shifting upon you a burden, and it's one that you two need to seriously consider before deciding if you should accept it. If you do not want to be a living caretaker of a disabled adult for 50 plus years, this is the time to draw the line in the sand. You are not being selfish, the parents are being manipulative. Not the arsehole refusing the gift of being a lifelong living caretaker of a disabled relative. Now, what would you do in that situation? Would you accept that house under those conditions? A 4-bedroom house, but you'd have to look after someone for, I don't know, indefinitely, possibly, you know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Ornery Apartments. Am I the arsehole for not DNA testing my unborn baby at my husband's request, even though I tested our other 2 kids? When my husband was younger, he had an infection in his testicles that we left untreated for a few months because it would only hurt on and off and seemed to come and go. When we finally went to the doctor about it, he was told he was sterile and would never have a baby biologically. He told me this after a few months of us dating exclusively, and I was a bit disappointed because I always wanted kids. But I loved him so much that I was open to the idea of a sperm donor or adoption, as was he. Things progressed and we got married. 4 years into our marriage, we were heavily looking into adoption as we felt financially secure. I found out I was pregnant. It was the shock of our lives. He asked if I was willing to take a prenatal DNA test because of course he was told he could never have kids. I understood where he was coming from and was actually excited for the results to come back because I never thought it was possible for us to conceive a baby. They did, and he is the father, and we were blown away. Our son's name means miracle in a different language. He's now 10. When I fell pregnant again 3 years after our son's birth, he asked me if I was willing to take another prenatal DNA test as he had doubts. This time I was a little less enthusiastic because our son's existence proves he can have kids, but hey, why not? We took the test again and our daughter is his. That was that. I'm now pregnant again. Considering I'm almost 40 now, I'm more shocked at my age than the fact that I'm pregnant. My kids are enthusiastic to have a baby to play with, and I thought my husband would be excited too. Instead of even showing any emotion, he asked me to book a prenatal DNA test as he was doing his work. I was so upset and refused to book the appointment. Like, excuse me, we've been together for 13 years. I already tested our first 2 kids when we were sure he couldn't have any. At this point, I'm just insulted. Are you asking for the test because you think that you're sterile and can't have kids, or are you asking for the test because you think you aren't the father? We've been both working from home since quarantine and I'm only 8 weeks along. I've only left the house to go grocery shopping with my kids in tow. He knows I have no time to go out and cheat. He got upset that I said no, and said that it's not his fault he was told his entire life he couldn't have kids and wanted to be 100% sure every time. I told him that he knows he can have kids, as our 2 kids are his, so his reasoning doesn't make sense. He said he finds it suspicious that I agreed for our first 2 kids, but now I'm saying no. My brother sides with my husband and says that as a woman, I'll never understand not having that certainty. Am I really the arsehole for saying no, or is my husband just weird? It's like I can't even be excited about this pregnancy now because of this hanging over our heads. It's like OP says all the way through the post. The husband knows he's not sterile. He's had 2 kids for Christ's sake, so a 3rd one shouldn't be that much of a surprise anymore, you know. The doctor was clearly wrong originally on this whole thing. So, and I can kind of sympathise with the husband, you know, something mentally is still in there. He's been scarred from what that doctor said to him all those years ago that said, oh, you can't have kids. So I understand the worry, and I'm not playing it down to any extent. The husband also needs to understand the damage he's doing to his wife by saying, basically, you're cheating on me. You know, there's something psychological in the husband's head that's doing this, and it obviously needs some help for that, rather than keep accusing his wife every time of basically cheating on him. I don't know. Let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Haunting of High AF Tower says, not the arsehole, please get your husband some therapy. How is this not the most insulting insinuation ever? You proved twice that it was his and you weren't cheating. Give him no indication you were cheating and still he requires this. If someone told me my shit could never be purple, but I plopped out 2 Barney hued turds, I think I might be... breathe mark. I might think that person was mistaken. I could not imagine being told I was going to be a father again and just blindly asking my wife to schedule a DNA test while showing no other emotion. My wife's next news would be asking me if I want a DNA test to find out if these divorce papers are really mine. Jimfish98 says, not the arsehole. I am with him the first go, a little on the second. The third, he needs to put on his big boy pants and accept it. He knows he was told something that was not true, and you have 2 kids together. At this point, asking is less about the medical condition and more about his insecurities. And Rosie Lip Batfish says, not the arsehole, period. Your husband should have understood that after the first test. Newsflash, he's obviously not sterile. Time for him to be tested so he can understand once and for all he's not sterile. The first one I understand, but what I don't understand is why immediately after the first baby was why he didn't book an appointment with his internalist and have his sperm tested. Then you both would never have to worry about it again. At this point he's being a jerk, a hurtful one. He's literally telling you he doesn't trust you and that he never did. Projecting maybe. Have you ever wondered what if he's unfaithful? I will flat out tell him I will have the test, but when it comes out he's the father, I'm leaving him. So it's your choice, honey. I take the test and you lose me, or you'll finally grow up and realise you're not sterile and I'm a good faithful wife and you can and should trust me. You decide. Now what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from Glittering Rooster. Am I the arsehole for standing my family up after they didn't invite my girlfriend to my birthday party? A week ago I turned 23. I've been with Rye, nickname, for 5 years, engaged for 2 and living together for 3. Rye is 27. Rye has really been my rock. She encouraged me to go to university, let me move in with her when I couldn't cope with my parents, and gave me the push I needed to accept myself and be happy. She's just this great woman, but maybe I'm biased. We've never been a family to really celebrate birthdays. I'd get something small and a card and that would be it, but for whatever reason my mother wanted to celebrate this birthday and I agreed. Let her and my sister 30 female arrange everything. A week before my birthday, I told that Rye wasn't invited because my grandmother and mother don't like her. Age difference, and they think she turned me. And that maybe we could do 2 meals, one with my siblings and Rye, and one with my family. Then my other sister texts me, an hour later, saying that she talked to the family about inviting Rye. A few days before my birthday, she said it was a no-go, but they'd arranged something else to include Rye. Rye was fine with not being invited, but I'm not. I just decided to drop it and just didn't turn up. Now my family are texting me saying that I've embarrassed them and I could have done something with Rye later on and that I'm being manipulative. I ignored this, but Rye's upset that I've made them think she's behind this and they'll blame her for it. Sorry for not making it clear, I am a woman, not a man, so yes, them accusing of her turning me is them accusing her of turning me gay. Am I the arsehole? Now this might be potentially really controversial, but I'm going to go with a very mild everyone sucks here, simply because, you know, the family is totally wrong for the whole thing about turning OP gay and all that sort of stuff. That is just like totally not on, and having 2 separate parties because some of your family doesn't like her or whatever. You know, I don't agree with that. I think it's all totally wrong and messed up, and not inviting Rye because of that is just insane. However, where I think OP might be the arsehole is the last part, where Rye thinks that the family is going to think Rye turned them against her, if that makes sense. Have I said that right? But hopefully you know what I mean there. The family will look at Rye and say, oh look, she's caused this now, and just cause even more resentment, you know, and that's the only reason I can see you being the arsehole in the situation. It sounds like you got a good relationship, so keep on rocking that good thing. Let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Zigzag into the blue says, I agree with Rye. They think she was behind this and no amount of saying otherwise will convince them now. You'll just be protesting too much. Should have made it clear from the beginning it was both or nothing. Would have helped your sister's negotiations too. Saying it's both or neither. Edit, it's been pointed out that I didn't pass judgment, so I'm going with it, everyone sucks here. While the family are total and complete arseholes, OP is old enough to be engaged and therefore old enough to act more maturely. Support your wife to be OP, she'll be your family, the rest of them will either accept it or they won't. But there isn't much you can do either way about them, apart from ignore and live your best life with your soon-to-be wife. And I'm just going to leave it on that one comment because that is pretty much what what I wanted to say, but 10 times better. And I think that is the main issue here, isn't it really? So yeah, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this story too. Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you have enjoyed today's stories. And if you have, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. You're always appreciated here, and I hope you know that. I hope you have a great day ahead of you and make the most of it. Take care, guys. Much love.